Hi, and thank you so much for joining me today. In today's video I'm using a mixture of Vicki Boutin collections, mainly Sweet Rush, but a few of the older ones thrown in. This stencil I think is from Fernwood, and it's one that I absolutely adore and wanted to use it to create the background. So I pulled out a few of my Distress Oxide inks that matched with the colours in the papers and also the picture, and ended up settling on these three. So we've got Chipped Sapphire, Bundled Sage and Dried Marigold. And I'm just going to go over each of the rows with different colours, and I start with the blue. I'll go on to the green and then the orange and then work backwards, so orange, green, blue. So I'll leave you to watch that. And then I'm just stopping here at the halfway point to position my photos so that I can decide whether I want to go blue, green, orange again, but I decide to reverse the colours just so that orange shows a little bit more. And you'll also notice that as I'm blending down into the next circle just so that the colours merge and it's not a solid block of each colour. So once that's done and I put my photos over it, I quickly realise that most of it's going to be covered. So I want to continue the dots down to the bottom and up to the top of the page. So just repositioning the stencil there and then going in with the green and then the orange at the bottom, and then I'll repeat it at the top. Just moving the inks out of the way, and then I'm going to look at the 6x12 sticker sheet from Sweet Rush. Now this was a reject sheet. I noticed that some of the printing was slightly off on it, so I just put it to one side and I wouldn't sell that to a customer from Hey Little Magpie. So it's good enough to use, I just have to trim off some of the white background because it's lopsided. But first of all I'm going to stick these two photos together because I know I definitely want to overlap them. Just so that I've got the block. I did toy with the idea of matting them, but I've decided just to leave them this time because it's quite a big block of photo already with the two of them there. And then going in with my huge roll of 25mm foam pads to back everything. These are brilliant, we've got them in the shop at Hey Little Magpie. and I've really enjoyed using them. So just putting enough on there to raise it all up, and then I'll spare you from watching me pull all the backings off. So trimming, as I say, trimming the edges of the white bits on this sticker, just so that it's not too obvious that it was misprinted. And then I choose one more printed word strip from this sticker sheet before looking at what else I've got. So this is it's the sticker book from Sweet Rush, and I choose this little circular motif just to follow on from the circles in the background, and I'll mat it onto card just so that I can move it around before sticking it down. I really must get some powder, I keep saying that. I must put some powder down here so I'm not having to mat it each time. And now I've decided that I want to add some homemade tags to either side of the photos, just to fill up some of that white space. So just trimming a piece of this paper from Sweet Rush down to size. And then you'll see I fold it in half to cut the corners off to make the tag shape. And then decide that I should use this green piece as well, seeing as I've got it. I love the fact that these papers are double-sided because it's very economical. So again, creating more tags there. And then I just want one more. Oh, first of all I go in with my hole punch, and then you'll see in the top left hand corner I've got the We Are Memory Keepers hole reinforcer, which is brilliant for creating the reinforcing holes around the tags. So choosing this bright contrast blue, and I'll do some with the blue and some with the reverse of the paper, which is the floral sheet that I cut a lot of the florals out from. So sticking those reinforcer holes down just with wet glue before going in and sticking down the actual tags themselves. Before I do that though, I realise that I want another one on that right hand side tag, but I'm going to go for a tall slim one. And at first I cut it quite tall because I think I want the orange at the top, but in fact I prefer the blue, so I just cut off the bit I don't need. I don't want to waste loads of paper behind photos when it's not necessary. So again, just creating a hole, and this time rather than using the hole reinforcer punch, I just doodle around the edge. And at first I just do a couple of circles, but it's not dark enough for my liking, so I'll go back in and just colour the very edge of the hole, just putting some paper behind to protect my desk. Once they're all stuck down, I realise there's a bit more white that I want to trim off from that floral sticker sheet. Just doing the bare minimum, but there were some bits that went on that tag and it was just too obvious. Where it's on the white cardstock, it really doesn't matter. And now starting to scour the sticker sheets again to see what else I can add. So I wanted to add another flower just to make a bit more of a cluster down there. I'm playing about with this circle again. I see this fern and think that will look nice at the top. And then I'm looking for a title. So these are, can't remember which range these are from now, but again, Vicki Boutin puffy stickers. They're certainly not from Sweet Rush. It might be Colour Study. And I want these things to remember, so I just cut it off the sheet so I can work out the positioning. And then once I'm happy with that, I put my T-ruler where I want it to go, position it below and start transferring the letters over. So again, I'll fade out on this one because you don't need to watch me putting the whole title down, it takes a little while. And there we are. So then I'll go around with some of the little puffies that are on that sheet, just to add some interest, because that title looks quite vacant somehow on that. I think there's quite a big space between the things too and the word remember. So just adding some of these dots and the stars. And then I see this leaf and think that'll layer nicely with that leaf at the top. And then I decide to use the arrow. I think that gold will be nice underneath. And I used to be terrible at saving all these sorts of things for best. I'm getting much better at using them up on my layouts. And it does look really nice there. So a few more scattery bits. And then onto this chipboard sheet, which again I think is colour study. I'm just choosing a few of the bits from here to be able to add. I love how these all match, it's really nice that they all work together. That's why I tend to keep all my Vicki Boutin in one box now. So another circular sticker just to balance that one in the bottom left hand corner of that photo. And then I want to add another one. Again, this is a misprinted sheet. Only some of them are misprinted. I think as it went further down the sheet they became misprinted, so just trimming off the excess at the top and then layering these two together. And I want to make sure that this one butts up against that word strip that says get out and explore I added earlier. So just getting them layered just right. And then this is a cut-off strip from one of the papers from Sweet Rush, and I love the words at the bottom, so I choose the phrase that says love this, do all the things, and that fits just nicely underneath that photo. I think Vicky's the master at squeezing everything she possibly can into her papers and ephemera packs. It's great, and stickers. You always get a lot of bang for your buck, as she calls it. So again, another sticker from this sticker sheet that I'm having to trim down a bit. And I think by this point I'm thinking, why didn't I just take a new one? But I hate waste, so if I can use something, I will. Adding that little arrow that says currently. And then I'm grabbing one of the EK Success tab punches. I love this tab punch, and we've got them in the shop at Hey Little Magpie, and you've probably seen from previous videos if you've watched them that I do love to use a tab sticker or a tab punch to add my date, and that's what I'm doing with this one, just working out where to put it. And it looked a bit plain because the tag next to it has got the reinforcer hole in navy. I just add a bit of doodling around the edge just to give it a bit more definition, really. So now, looking at this side of the photo, it looks a bit plain with so much else going on the page, so I just wanted to add a strip of something. In fact, I change that in a minute. You'll see I add a few stickers at the top just to bridge that gap between the tab and the edge of the photo. Just using a few bits there. And realising that's where the tab goes, so I really need to put it down. And it's at this point that I remember I've got my, again, another EK Success punch, border punch, which we stock at Hey Little Magpie, and it's the notebook edge punch. And this is brilliant just for adding a bit of character to your pages. Again, it's something that I do use quite a bit. So just cutting it down to what I think is size, and it's not, so tearing a bit more off. Roughing up the edges so it looks like it's been torn from a notebook. Still too big. I want to check whether I prefer the navy side, but we stick with this stripy side. I think the navy was just a bit too dark for me, and then gluing that down. I'm really happy with that. I think punches are brilliant to have in your toolkit because once you've got them, any scraps of paper you can turn into embellishments. So I highly recommend just choosing a few different punches like that. So again, going through the sticker sheets just to see if there's anything else I can add. Adding a few stars and hearts to scatter around the page. These seem to just keep on giving. I've used them quite a few times now and there are still plenty. I do love these little bits and pieces just to add interest to a page. I'm trying desperately not to splatter ink on this page, so adding a few more scattery bits to avoid doing that. And then I see the butterflies. I do love butterflies, especially in outdoor pictures. So again, sticking this to card. I won't bore you with me cutting it out, just so that I can add foam pads underneath the wings to make it look like it's flying. So just working out where it's going to go on the page, and then I'll add wet glue to the body, well, the reverse of the body, and then some foam pads to each of the wings, just to give them a lift, to make it, as I say, to make it look like it's flying. And this foam tape is brilliant. Again, we've got it at Hey Little Magpie. Just cut off the size that you need. I had trouble with this piece though, I didn't want to stick on. So just working out which wing it was under and adding that back on. And then going in with my pen just to add a trail from the butterfly. Just to tie it all in really, because it looked like it was a bit out there and not tied into the rest of the layout. So then for balance I want to add one to this bottom bit, so again mounting it onto card and then adding the glue and the foam. Sticking it down. And once again I'll add a trail with my black gel pen. And now just with my embroidery floss adding threads to the tag holes. So I choose different colours for each of them. I'll leave you to watch that. And as you've seen there, I've just taken the ends around the edge of the page just to finish it off and not have them hanging loose. Sometimes I like to just leave them loose on the page, but when they're this close to the edge, I think it looks much neater just to bring them round and have them stuck in position. So I'm just finishing this last one. And realising that the chipboard's gone. The adhesive goes quite quickly on this chipboard, so I must learn to stick it down with wet glue. And then I decided, because I've used some embroidery floss, I want to go in with some stitching. So I'm just going to create some little starbursts. So I choose where it's going to go, use my needle to prick the holes, and then go in with the thread to do the starburst. I start with a navy one at the top here, and then I'll add a green one in the middle and a little magenta one at the bottom. And as I've mentioned in the past, quite often doing this stitching or something that takes a little bit longer on a layout gives me some time to think and really look at what else I need. And I noticed that this top left hand corner needed a few scattery bits. It just seemed a little bit bare, so just going through that puffy sheet again to see what else I can add to it. And then I want to add my journaling, and I think this tag is the perfect place to add that, so I'll just add that sticker from the sticker book and a little tab that says details, and then I'll go in with my journaling of what we did on the day. These are still photos from our trip to Southport with my father-in-law. I've scrapped some of these before. Not these actual photos, but some photos from that day. It's nice to have a good few layouts from the day in the album. And then just one last look through, see what else. A couple more stickers down the bottom here, just because I can't stop myself. And a leaf, because it's there. And then I remember I've not put the date on my tab, so just grabbing a scrap piece of card I've kept, and I go in with my bundled sage ink pad to match the green of the tag, and just trim that down to size and glue it on. And it's a great way of just making it pop a bit by putting it on the white cardstock. And that's it. I really hope you've enjoyed this process video. I'd love to hear from you if you have any comments or questions. It's always lovely to hear from people who have watched and what they think. Thank you so much, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.